So the technical part of our presentation is index and how to sell index offering. If you've realized, then you've looked at our the dashboard. You can see there's some offering in most states right now for index product. So what it is essentially is an adder, which will be added on top of the moving index rate, which comes from the energy market, obviously. So to utilize the index offering, you need to be able to sort of predict the movement of the components of supply. So what we will display today would be how to come up with the index projections month to month, and the adder, and essentially build a supply rate and essentially display it to your customer that what would be the projection month to month of an index offering. Again, in the graph and chart section, it says market analytics in the top and electricity. So let's look at a market. I'm going to pick Pennsylvania. We can practice with any market, but I choose Pennsylvania and take a look at 2018, 2021. And typical example I'm using always is 200,000 kilowatt hours per year customer, and 50 kilowatt is the PLC, peak load contribution. You plug those numbers in, assuming that you have those numbers, because you can read it from the bill, and hit get stat. I'll be able to graph the movement of the components of electricity in the market, in this market, which is Pico. So what you want to do, first of all, let me just go to the capacity chart, which is the most important one. Everything else straightforward. Capacity, this is the capacity prices for Pico. It's been $223 up to 19, and then 2019 moved to $116, and now it's $188.41, and then projected to go down to 166, and those are dollar per megawatt per day. So what we are familiar with is cents per kilowatts hour. So we want to convert it to cents per kilowatt hour. So our platform has already done this. So if I go to the wholesale chart right here, I can see the converted amount. I see cent per kilowatt hours, but that really heavily depends on the kilowatt hours and kilowatt inserted, heavily depending on those numbers. So if I keep the 200,000 kilowatt hours intact and I reduce the kilowatt, I can see that the cost, the capacity would be moving significantly. And it can go up and down, up to 2 cents from 30 kilowatts up to 50 kilowatts. You can practice with this. Just open this page and plug in a state, put kilowatt hours and a kilowatt, and move the kilowatt multiple times and hit get stat, and you would see essentially the market chart will change. The orange section is a billable capacity. All right. Now let's talk about the index product. Let's say you go to bidding and you have a auction on a 12-month index. And in Texas, obviously the capacity is not an issue, so that the orange would be gone away, and essentially the capacity sort of bundled with an energy. So the blue in Texas will be bigger, and orange would be none. It would not exist. But in any other market, we have those three colors. Ancillaries, tiny, but the third biggest component, the blue, the energy, and the capacity, right? So you can, if you look at this part, and you can see the breakdown and the total for those three components moving. right? This is from the wholesale market. Let's say you read the number and it is 4.22 and then the number moves. So you can month by month write down the total supply without the adder, right? This is no adder. There's no adder included in this. It's pure supply. So you can take this month by month and write in Excel, or even easier than that, you'll be able to export this file and have all the data into Excel. So I just clicked it. You see it just dropped. And I can open it. And this is it. This is the numbers and storage capacity energy. The sum is not here, but you can copy paste and bring it to one sheet and sum it up. But we're doing this, by the way, as we're working on the index. We just added the index. We're building this into actually a more marketable feature. But for now, we have an index. If you're very interested in selling an index, you're taking the capacity, the energy, and ancillary and put it into columns. This is the ancillary, this is capacity, and this is energy. And you have the dates. All the dates are listed. And you can see day by day how these three components are published and what is the total. To take that total, which let's say it comes back to, let's say energy is 2 and capacity is 1 and half a cent ancillary comes in 3.5 cents, particularly in a specific day, you have 3.5 cents per kilowatt hours. Then you add the adder, let's say the adder is 1 cent, then the sum of the two is 4.5 cents, right? That is the price, the supply cost if you move forward with an index offering. So to simplify things, index product, index adder product, which is listed as a product, and now we have matrix offer. I'm going to show you in a second. Has two components. One component is adder. That's fixable. That's essentially what we compete on. The adder is composed of supplier adder and the broker adder. The more margin you put, the adder goes up. Supplier adder, broker adder, sum it up. Whatever it is, then you need to find the moving index. And as I explained, this section of the dashboard now gives you the ability to display the moving index to your customer. So you can build a projection month by month of what you are projecting. Again, there's no exactness here. It's all, the whole value of this product is uncertainty, right? Variability. You're not hedging those major components. You're not hedging these three components. You pass it through. But we have projections all the way in the future, 2022 in some cases, and we can build a projection of the index and then add it with the adder and come up with a saving analysis and compare it month by month. So you would have, let's say the 24-month contract, you have 24 numbers, and then you list it and compare it month by month with what the customer is paying and come up with some sort of estimation of the month one you're saving, the month two you're overpaying, month three you're saving, and then sort of come up with the summation and total of the savings. It's a product that is, as I said, we just added. I'm going to display where it shows, but if you go to the instant quote section and put a kilowatt hours, PPNL, GS1, price to compare. Let's search for offers. By default, the index is not displayed because it just sort of messes up the comparison. So if you want to just use index, just check the box. And as you can see, the 1 cent, it shows 1 cent. From this 1 cent, 5 mils or half a cent is what the broker puts. So if the broker increase or decrease. Let's say broker goes all the way to zero, theoretically you're talking. Then the adder shows as, let's put the product, the adder shows as half a cent, right? So half a cent is the base, the supplier adder. On top of that comes broker adder. And then you go back to the market chart and sort of sum these three components with what you got from that quote page. And that is your projection of the index cost over the many years that's coming up. And there's a lot that we're doing. We just offered, a couple of brokers of ours had asked for this product. So we added it, but it's not necessarily perfect. I mean, I know there's some changes that we're making to this page to make those calculations actually a graph. So you see this estimated saving here, it will be actually displaying that savings. Saving would be not a number, it will be analysis, and then we can drop it, and that would be like the chart. So month by month would be available for you to display to the customer. So we're making those adjustments, but in the meantime, the offers are available, and I show you the methodology sort of like in the short term, in the next probably month or so. Use the platform and still sell the index. So just have to essentially download this data, plug in the numbers. As I mentioned, the most important thing, kilowatt and kilowatt hours, get the stats, download the numbers, and then use the adder that you got from that quote page and build the index month to month. And that's to be displayed to the customer. But as I said, it will be simpler down the road. So, okay. So I'm going to expand it a little bit more. Even if we don't have the product yet, let's talk about energy only. Let's say you get an offer of energy only from an auction. You run an auction. Again, Texas, this offer is not available at all. There's no energy only. It's simply index or fixed because there's no energy, there's no capacity. So there's no energy only in Texas. But any other market, you can get an energy only bid. How do you sell an energy only bid? Let's say the energy only comes back at 2 cents with the broker margin and supplier margin, it comes at 2 cents. Theoretically. Let's say we had an offer and it was 2 cents. Obviously, it's higher because this is index. This is adder. So energy only has adder and has the energy charges in it, right? It says energy only, right? So energy plus adder. Let's say come with 3 cents or 2 cents, whatever it is. You take that 2 cents and you need to build the rest of it. What is the rest of it? So if you look at this chart again, you see energy, the blue, see the billable capacity, the orange, and you see ancillary, the green. Energy only means that you already got the number for energy, but everything other than energy should be projected. So the orange, capacity, the billable capacity, and the green should be projected. And if I go back to that file, I don't need the energy anymore because I already got a quote of 3 cents for energy only. All I have to add to it is capacity and ancillary. I take those numbers, build month by month, ancillary, capacity, and get the quote for energy only and build my number. And you can expand this to other type of product. Again, there's a lot of product out there. Primarily the product they're playing with these three. Some are passing all of them, which is the index. Some may pass capacity only. We call it capacity pass-through. Energy and ancillary fix. Some are energy only, again, energy fix and capacity and ancillary pass-through. And again, you can play with any combination, but the most famous product that we are aware of are energy only, capacity pass-through, and index next to fixed only. And those four products are the major products that are being sold in the market. And you should have a sort of systematic way of presenting the savings to the customer. Again, we are making this a lot more marketable for you guys. So the next few weeks, you will see more on this. Obviously, the data is available. The most important thing, this data collection has been done over 2 years to connect to all market. But with that power and what I just explained, simple methodology, we will make this page, first of all, have the ability to project savings for index and actually be displayable. Right now, it's not. It's just you see the code and it's a good sort of patch You can still sell it, but you need to sort of like do some work to come up with a proposal. But soon to be added and become much easier to digest. But with that being said, you should now have a way to present savings for all the variable type of product other than fixed all in. One last thing that I wanted to cover here, we talked about 200,000 kilowatt hours. Again, I've done this experiment a few times, but for this particular client, if you look at the kilowatt and you move the kilowatt number, which is a PLC, if you move the PLC and increase it, the load factor will drop and this orange would significantly increase. And you can make very poor load factor customer by increasing that to 60 and 70. And that's sort of explain the capacity cost and how it can skyrocket for some customers. And the difference of rates can be as far as much as 10 cents in some market that I've seen, New Jersey or Pennsylvania. You can see 10 cents different from a server operation, server operator, and server infrastructure operator compared to a church. You can see significant difference between the two, and that essentially explains why the PLC is important and has been a major subject of discussion and sometimes unhappiness among the customers. As the KW sort of increases or decreases, there will be a clear change in the projected cost. Now, I've seen contracts that are sort of not bilateral, meaning if there is an increase, they pass through the charges, but if there's a decrease with the same methodology, there should be a credit to the customer. But that sort of is not being covered. That has been an issue with some contract, but most of our contract now has the bilateral adjustment. If the kilowatt goes up compared to the year where the hedge was done, there will be a pass-through charge. And obviously it should be significant, not for a small amount, but if you significantly change the operation. And if there's a decrease in that number, there will be a credit. Like a good example is Nextera, which has this charge called material change, and after a certain amount percentage capacity change, there will be pass-through portion to it. So it's a product that's, I mean, we have a couple groups that are using the product that requested it, and it can perform well. But I mean, again, I just want to make sure that don't over promise and under deliver. I've seen that behavior, so I want to make sure that our brokers completely understand what they're selling. You're selling the idea of riding the market, right? Some customers just have that belief that no, we don't pay premium. We want to ride the market. But without this offer, there's no projection. The value of this offer is, even though it's variable, and they said, why am I signing a contract that's variable? Because it's projectable, right? You have all the data to project. With the tariff or whatever variable rate that utility offers, that doesn't exist. I don't know where that goes, but this, we know where it goes. Essentially, whatever PLC that customer has, they build it into their rate and they offer as a fixed all-in product with their adders. So in a sense, you should come to the same number. Again, it's just a matter of risk. It's not more about the number. The numbers should come very close to each other. It's a matter of, are you believing that the future will be more expensive? That the fixed all-in product typically has that, and that's why it's a premium bill? Or I think that the market would go down. That's another view, right? It's less dependent, I would say, on the load factor. It's more dependent on your take of the market. The PLC is higher, the capacity, the energy energy also would change slightly because energy is like depends on the peak combination of peak and off peak. But this is the average. This is the average energy. But yeah, the capacity would definitely move, as we just showed. This pass through. If I increase this number, this capacity, the orange section would increase. And that means the PLC goes up, the pass-through will go up, specifically in component of billable capacity. But again, there's still not a huge surge of demand, so I'm not thinking that it's going to be skyrocketing. But if the demand goes back up and there's some momentum, typically the momentum pushes it high. And again, maybe by the end of the year, if the demand sort of resumes and goes back to normal, you may see some spikes. And it really depends. Can be a cent. Can be up to 10%, 20%. It really depends. But right now, there is no indication of demand resuming yet. There are some as I said, increases in certain states. Some businesses opening up, but it's not nationwide. So it's hard to predict. But for what I'm seeing, I see a slight movement upward. We have seen some increases, and that comes from the market timing feature that we have. I used to see the numbers being more of a 90%, 92% in certain markets that I was like monitoring, and now I see it like dropping to higher 80s. Not a significant change again, but it's still slightly crawling up. So again, to those customers that are smart and they want to take advantage of it, I mean, they have the ears and listen. This is the time that you want to lock in. You don't want to wait too long. And if you would be in business and you're confident that you can carry business post COVID, you got to lock in. There's no question in that. But obviously, people have other things in mind and not thinking straight necessarily. So, and anyways, I wanted to last point. I wanted to talk about our brokers, and I mean, I see some of our brokers are significantly productive, very productive, and some have like sort of slowed down a lot. I think that sort of indicates that their opportunities are out there. And again, it was like everyone sort of dropping, but I see actually some brokers that are increasing their activities and they're actually selling more, which is very interesting, even in the COVID time. Overall, we have seen less activities from our brokers, and again, part of it is again expected. Some business owners responding, but I see that it's not proportionate. I mean, I see some brokers are pushing harder than before COVID. And that's an indication that I think we have opportunity that are being missed. And if you are in a position to get a client to listen to you, I think you can be active. You can be more active and try to push a little more conversations and prove that the timing is right, especially like 2.5 months into shelter in place. I think slowly customers should sort of like start planning for things. And there's a chance that these opportunities for savings would not happen again for another couple of years. So keep that in mind and see if there is an opportunity for a conversation delivering the message. Again, we have brokers that have increased their activities since COVID compared to pre-COVID. That's a good thing. And every one of you can sort of have that same story. But with that being said, I wanted to end this call and wish you guys a good rest of the day. And hopefully we can regroup next week and continue our conversations with another topic. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.